Most people watching the news feel tension, anxiety, and a sense of uncertainty, but very few stop to ask why these feelings are happening. This conflict is not just physical, it's psychological, affecting millions of people across borders, beliefs, and cultures, especially Iranians and Americans. When a nation is under attack, the emotional impact isn't random, it's rooted in basic human survival instincts. In Iran, recent strikes have included military operations against key targets, even senior leadership, creating immediate fear responses among civilians. People feel unsafe not just for themselves, but for their families, their futures, and their sense of identity. Historical context, decades of internal repression, protests, and economic decline already made many Iranians feel stressed and unstable. Add external conflict on top of that, and the brain goes into constant alert mode, heightening anxiety, hypervigilance, and emotional exhaustion. Psychologists call this allostatic load, the cumulative psychological burden of chronic stress. It doesn't just make people sad, it changes how they think, how they sleep, how they interact with others, and how they view the world. With reports showing that a large percentage of Iranians already struggle with various mental health issues, this conflict intensifies existing trauma and creates new ones. When people feel threatened, the brain flips into survival mode: fight, flight, freeze, or cling. Attachment to community becomes stronger. People rally around symbols of strength, unity, or tradition because identity feels fragile. In Iran, this dynamic has been visible in public reactions. Some feel anger at external forces, some feel betrayal, others feel a deep sadness for the direction their country is headed. Some Iranian diaspora communities in the U.S. experience conflicted emotions, celebrating moments they see as resistance or survival, while simultaneously fearing escalation and loss. On the American side, even hearing about conflict thousands of miles away taps into a different psychological pattern: projection of threat. American news cycles repeatedly emphasize existential risk, national prestige, and possible spillover effects. This triggers people's fear of uncertainty because the human brain equates foreign conflict with potential personal danger. Some Americans become anxious about economic consequences, while others visualize worst-case military escalations, even replaying catastrophic scenarios in their minds. Online communities reflect this anxiety, with individuals reporting sleepless nights and intrusive worry about something as unlikely as a global war or direct attack at home. There's another psychological response that's less obvious but extremely powerful: the rally effect. When a nation is in conflict, many people shift their internal priorities. Politics, opinions, and relationships become influenced by emotion rather than logic. Americans may become more supportive of leaders who sound decisive, even if they disagree with them in calmer times. Iranians, in turn, may gravitate toward national unity even when they oppose their own government under normal circumstances. Fear makes people cling to perceived stability, a psychological shortcut the brain uses to reduce anxiety. Another layer is meaning-making psychology. People seek a story that makes sense of chaos. When conflict is abstract or far away, the brain loops through what-if scenarios, often amplifying fear. When conflict feels close, through personal connections or persistent media, it transforms into a profound emotional reality. This has long-term implications. Chronic anxiety can lead to increases in depression, PTSD, and social withdrawal, especially when combined with economic hardship and disrupted daily routines. So what could be the psychological outcome if this situation continues? For many Iranians, prolonged conflict combined with internal repression could deepen collective trauma and social fragmentation, or, paradoxically, increase unity through shared adversity. People may become more suspicious, more conformist, and less trusting of institutions, a defense mechanism rooted in survival. For Americans, repeated exposure to conflict through media can create desensitization or chronic worry, shaping attitudes toward foreign policy, national identity, and even personal worldview. And then there's the possibility of psychological spillover. If the conflict escalates or drags on, both populations could experience what psychologists call secondary trauma, emotional stress not from direct experience, but from empathetic engagement with the suffering of others. This can manifest as community anxiety, polarized opinions, decreased social trust, and deeper ideological divides. Understanding these psychological processes doesn't mean ignoring facts or politics. What it means is recognizing the invisible emotional currency that conflict extracts from everyday minds. From a parent worried about their child's future to someone scrolling the news late at night and feeling that knot of unease in their stomach. In the end, the psychological impact of conflict isn't just about fear. It's about how uncertainty reshapes identity, priorities, and the way people perceive themselves and others. And that impact, whether in Iran or the United States, will outlast headlines, borders, and treaties.